Hey, it's your boy Jack here. Welcome to the Season 8, Episode 4 recap review and predictions video that I'm doing here on the YouTube, because why not? Today I'm going to be talking about The Walking Dead Season 8, Episode 4, titled Some Guy. I'm going to be doing a review and predictions video of what's going to happen in Episode 5, titled The Big Scary You. But before I do that, I just want to let you know a little secret that I've been keeping in. But I actually haven't really been keeping in. But I just wanted to let you know that every Sunday on my Instagram, which you can check out down below, or I'll have a little bar right here showing my Instagram. Every Sunday I post my favorite line of the previous episode. Last time's was this one right here. You can check it out. Feel free to hit a like button on my Instagram if you liked it. That was your favorite line from the episode. But this coming up Sunday, I have my line picked out and ready to post. So feel free to let me know your favorite line down below. And check out my Instagram if you want to see what my favorite line was from this episode. Or you can wait till next week, where I will do this exact same thing again and show you the line from this week. This week's episode in next week's video. So yeah, I may be a bit confusing, but just go follow me on my Instagram and so you can see my favorite line. If not, just wait till next week. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. Why do I make everything so gosh darn confusing? This is why am I talking so fast as well. Okay, so yeah, let's go dive into part 1, the review of episode 4, Some Guy. I love this episode. I honestly feel like the development that they've had over the last 3 episodes is so well, done. Why am I trying too hard? But yeah, I really like King Ezekiel in this episode. I feel like he is obviously the main character there. And I felt like if I had to give like a 5-star review here, I'd give it like a 4.5 out of 5. The only reason I say that is I really like this episode. I love how they pick the side characters of Carol. And yes, hashtag petty for Jerry, because if Jerry dies, I riot. I become petty. I don't riot. I just become petty. But yeah, I'm really happy about that. Like, the only thing I'd say is, like, just take that little Rick and frickin' Daryl attack sequence and put it in the next episode. Because, honey, I don't care about it. Like, it sort of cockblocks the whole, like, point of this episode. And it's just, like, so pointless. It bugs me. Like, and that's just partially because it's like, I just want to see Daryl die just because I'm so fucking annoyed at Daryl. Daryl's just like, so annoying right now. He's just like in everything. It's like, I can get why Rick would be, but like, Daryl, come on. Like, we get it. But yeah, moving forward though as well, I really do like this episode, and I love how they focus on King Ezekiel. I really like that, like, the whole idea of how his leadership has really turned against him. Obviously, they viewed King Ezekiel as a really key leader in the kingdom. He really looked at the idea of interpersonal relationships and developing really good relationships with his people, and like having a really good bond and like being united and standing together. And it was a really beautiful thing. See, that's the thing that's really opposite about Rick. Rick's very much like, okay, he sort of works like a general. He'll figure it out, he'll do it. He's really like tactically focused, but his all of his relationships towards people aren't really necessarily focused. And when I say that, it's like I really like how they sort of did this with Ezekiel, where it's like all of his people that he really cared about, he really developed really strong and great relationships with, really just sort of stand up as the dead and just go and kill him, or like try to kill him. And I just think that's a really beautiful sequence that they did. That being because it's like, you have like the whole idea of, at the end of the day, they're just gonna rise from the dead. At the end of the day, they're just gonna come and kill you. Like, the whole idea of these relationships and how like protecting these people and learning how to develop this army and everything. I just love how like they sort of rise up, and I feel like that's very symbolic of like the idea of him developing people, yet it's like the whole idea of him basically, like, them turning against him. Like, I just like that. I think it was really appropriate. If you get what I'm saying, I don't know what word to use, but yeah. I like the idea that like they had like the how like they had I think Alvaro or whatever, like his character, and like how he was sort of like assisting the king, and like he was sort of dragging him through the fight, and then he gets shot through the chest, and then you got like the serial killer dude who's like slightly insane. He goes after and he like tries to kill them all and everything. And I really like that. I think it was awesome. Very interesting moment. Overall though, I did like that whole like series of kidnapping, which led to like King Mr. Petty for Jerry here. For those of you who don't know, I love Jerry to the bottom of my heart. I love his character. Love how they developed him as like a comical standby character, and like how they sort of developed him in this episode. But for those of you who don't know, if Jerry does die, hashtag I will become petty for him. Hashtag petty for Jerry, because why not? He's the only character that I'm like, ooh, I will be so petty for him if he dies. No other character, it's like, that's just how I feel, sorta. Moving forward though, I think the one thing that I really like about King Ezekiel in this episode is obviously he goes through this journey. Out of like 46-minute journey to be exact, most likely. But I really like how they have like the whole idea of death and development, and how when everybody starts to die, he develops more and more as a character. He develops more when like he develops as his people rise up and try to kill him. He develops more as he starts killing his own people that are walkers. He develops more and more as more people try to die, and like as Shiva dies, he develops more and more. And I'll get to her in a moment, because like bad CGI, let's just say that. Yeah, and I just really like how like he developed as more and more people died, and how his idea of being being who he was, being a leader, and like presenting this false face and false persona really did develop that. And like overall, I'm happy with it. I like it. So yeah, let's talk about our next character here. My favorite character from the kingdom here, besides Shiva, Mr. Jerry. Oh my goodness, I love Jerry. Oh, I'm R.I.P. his axe, firstly. Also as well, I really loved him as a hero, and how heroic he was really in this episode, and how he stood by his king and he killed the serial killer. And like, oh, that axe was amazing, and I'm sad to see it go. Overall though, yeah, like I just really am happy with Jerry. I love his development. I love like the whole like as he goes through a journey as well, and how emotional it is for him. The only thing I would have loved to see from him, just as like an acting standpoint, is to see him just a bit more emotional. Like that's the thing about him and King Ezekiel. Both of these people would have had to know these people on The Walking Dead, like, or like in the Kingdom society, and like I really would have just loved to see them be emotional, because like you see that whole initial scene at the beginning where they're all saying goodbye to go to war, and then all these people die, and it's like, well, where's the emotion in that? And I think that's the one thing I'll say about The Walking Dead, is that they underestimate the like emotion that a character can do, and like them being emotional, them crying, them screaming, them grieving, I feel like could be a really powerful moment. And I understand King Ezekiel really, like, he showed that, and Kari Payton, phenomenal acting in this episode. But I just feel like maybe they could have like showed a bit more emotion there. That's just like, it's just a opinion. Just generally about The Walking Dead. Overall though, I love Jerry. I love his like hero-ness, and like how he at the end of the day always stands by his king, and even when he is some guy, which this episode's titled, it just felt like it was a really good moment to have. Overall though as well, Jerry, thumbs up. I'm still gonna be petty for you if you die at the end of this season. So yeah, let's dive into the queen here of the kingdom, sorta. Miss Carol. Oh my goodness, I love her in this episode. I'm so happy with her. Obviously, her like whole motives there of being like a hero and trying to protect other people that she cares about, and trying to kill people that she doesn't and are willing to harm her people. Like, I really love that motive. Like, I think that was just such a great moment, is that like her going and finding the guns and killing people and having like a gunfight. Like, that was a really good moment. I feel like they really staged like a whole ethical dilemma where it's like either go save Ezekiel or go kill off the two saviors. I really did like that moment, because it was just sort of honest and truthful to her as a person, and really showed her main goal, like as like her main priority as a person. Moving forward though as well, I really did like that, like her whole storyline was really focused towards Rick. I just felt like Rick didn't need to be in this episode. But I think that, like, that's the one thing I'll say is, like, the moves with the guns and, like, to get the actual, like, big guns and stuff, I feel that that was a big moment to be had. And, like, I like how they sort of developed her as, like, a very smaller, like, significant storyline in order to contrast King Ezekiel and his destruction as a king. I really did like that, though. I just felt like, okay, I get it, like, they're chasing off with the Veep. It's sort of obvious what's gonna happen. So yeah, that's the one thing I'll say, though, is I really do wish that that whole, like, little storyline where Rick and Daryl were involved just got moved to the next episode. And honestly, like, just looking at the next episode, which I'll talk about in a moment, I just felt like it was really appropriate. It would have been a lot more appropriate. So yeah, lastly but not least, let's play our moment of silence to all the Kingdom people. Also, let's play a moment of silence to Shiva, R.I.P. Also, like, I'm sorry that they didn't give you a bigger budget, because, like, God, that was bad CGI. Like, no offense, AMC, but gosh darn it. Like, I really do like your show, and I love how Shiva is a great character, and I understand, like, CGI is expensive and stuff, but it's like, I understand that these people are working hard and they're doing everything that they can, and I love that, like, they did that whole, like, sequence, but oh, that CGI, I'm sorry that I'm picky, but, like, just wasn't that good. Like, I sort of wish that what they did do is sort of do, like, a whole sequence where they were running through the woods and Shiva just appears out of nowhere, starts killing a bunch of walkers and clearing the way. Then they lead into that ravine, because that would have just been even better, even awesomer. Where they were, like, running through the forest, and then she goes into the ravine, she fights off all these walkers, they get Ezekiel to the other end, and then she dies. Because I think that would have been such a great moment to have, where it's like, you have this, like, freaking amazing moment with Shiva, but it's like, then she dies, and it's like, then it's like that tearful moment of, like, her being a hero. And it's like, I get, like, the whole idea of how they did it on the show, where it's like they wanted to make it a lot more of a heroic act that just came out of nowhere, but it's like, come on. Like, I would have loved to see that whole sequence, because that sort of was, like, how it, like, I felt like it would have happened in the comics if they showed, like, the full-on perspective. But yeah, that's all I really have to say there. R.I.P. Shiva. I'm really excited to see how Ezekiel will manage this loss in the further end half of, like, this half of the season, and, like, how it will affect him throughout the whole series. So let's dive into part 2, nearly 14 minutes into it. Let's dive into part 2, the predictions of the next episode. So yeah, let's dive into the next episode, titled The Big Scary You. I'm really excited for this episode. As I talked before in my episode 3 rant, there is a dynamic shift that's going to happen. This whole perspective of the saviors and everything, like, not being focused on, and Rick and the Alexandrians and Maggie and Ezekiel being focused on, like, there's going to be a perspective switch where it's like, instead of it being focused on Maggie, Rick, and Ezekiel, it's going to shift to Negan and the Saviors and Father Gabriel, and I'm really excited and interested to see how this shift is going to impact everything. Obviously, next episode, we are going to see, it looks like a Savior-focused episode, which, like, I'm fine with. It just, let me tell you a few things that I would want to see. I would, like, the thing is, they've developed King Ezekiel so well that, like, it just would feel so, like, undervalued, in my opinion, so bad to see that, like, see if Ezekiel isn't in this episode, because, like, I would really want to see that perspective of him and how he would grieve with this, how this would impact him as a character. And that's one thing I'll say is, like, with that, like, I would really want to see that effect in contrast to the Saviors, in contrast to Negan and Gabriel's conversation in the trailer. Like, that's the one thing I'll say is, like, I would really like to see that in contrast, because I think that would be a really good moment to see. Like, and plus, like, it would just be a wasted development if you're gonna develop this person all the way up to, like, this whole grieving stage. Like, why don't you see this whole, like, back half digression of this event that and the effect it has on him? Just saying, that's my opinion, that's my perspective. Moving forward though as well, like I do still think that if this is going to be I just don't want it to be a whole Savior dominated episode. I really want to see the contrast between Rick and the Saviors, Maggie and the Saviors, the Hilltop and the Saviors, like these contrasts between what's going on between these two like battles, these two saviors, like the Saviors and like our people, like the Alexandrians, like that's the one thing I'm sort of wanting to see, is that, like, the contrast between these two groups in, like, maybe a sequence or something. So, yeah, overall, though, as well, like, another thing I'm going to say is, like, I'm really excited to see Dwight and the Saviors and how Dwight is really going to interact. As I said in episode 1 and the predictions video, and, like, a bunch of the other videos that I've done, Dwight and Jesus are the two most important people in the series. I will say this time and time again. At this moment in time, in All Out War, these two people are the most important. They need to be developed very quickly, very well, and they really need to have a really good line of communication. I say Jesus because obviously, like, the whole idea of him being a peacekeeper, peacemaker and everything, and like his whole idea of ethics and everything, and like how he's been developed so far in the TV series and the comics. I feel like he's such an important character for communication between the different colonies. Along with that as well, like, Dwight needs to be there because obviously he is a rat for the Saviors. He is someone who is a huge so yeah, like, that's the one thing I'll say about Dwight. He needs to be the most important character in this series at the moment, because for him, he is someone that is like, he's important because obviously he's a rat for the Alexandrians. He is a rat for Maggie, Ezekiel, and like basically the other half of the war. And like, I think that's the one thing that I'm really excited to see, is if they're going to develop that and how they're going to develop that. I'm excited for that as well, because it's like, I really do love Dwight as a character. I feel like he's probably the best developed character so far in The Walking Dead, period. Like, you can debate it on me, but over the past, like, 3 seasons, he's been the best developed character, and I love that because of him. Overall though, like, he needs to be very important. Like, he is a melody if this season was a song, like, because he is someone that is, like, his communication between these Saviors and and the opposing, like, the Alexandrians and everything, needs to be something that needs to be displayed, and like how he gets through it with the Saviors, how he gets everything done, and I'm really excited to see how that's done. So yeah, that's the one thing I'm gonna say, is like how Dwight is gonna interact with them is gonna be really interesting, and yeah. Last but not least, I'm really excited for Negan. That's the one thing I'm going to say about The Walking Dead, is that they don't show enough Negan. Like, Negan is such a great character, and yet they so undervalue him. It's like, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, I love him as Negan. I think he's a great Negan. I love him, and it's like, I love, like, imitating him in a bit of a way, like, because it's sort of, like, awesome. As, like, a comic nerd, like, I love it. But, like, that's the thing. They need to show so much more Negan in this episode. Not just in this episode, but in the future. That's the thing that I didn't like about Season 7, is they didn't show any Negan. It was just, like, so, like, I was just craving for those Negan moments. And like, gosh darn it, like, I just want to see it. Like, oh, sorry, I'm just getting all rallied up because it's like, Negan is freaking awesome. And like, I'm really excited to see this moment because like, Negan is such a great character, and I really want to see the relationship that Father Gabriel and Negan can really solidify, and like how this relationship would be between a priest and the head of the Saviors here. The one thing I'd be really interested in seeing is like a conversation between them about Glenn and about Abraham and their murders, and like how he, like, what motives he had with that. What motives did he have with Abraham dying? What motives did he have with Glenn dying? Like, that kind of thing, because I think that would be really interesting to see. And like, it'd be really interesting too, because it's like Father Gabriel is a priest, and in a way that would be sort of a confession. I'd be really interested to see that whole dynamic there, because like, I think that'd just be such a great relieving moment there, of having that other perspective on why he died, or why both of them died. And like, yeah, overall though, I don't think, there may be Saviors that are going to die and stuff, but overall I don't think anybody is going to die in this episode. So yeah, Hey, it's your boy Jack here. Thank you so much for watching, man. If you want to follow me on my Instagram, feel free to do that, because I will be posting my favorite line from this week's episode there, so feel free to check it out. Along with that, thank you so much for watching. I'm really excited for episode 5, The Big U. If you are as well, feel free to let me know down below. Along with that, thank you so much for watching this far. I wish I could give you like a little, I'll give you a thumbs up for watching this far. Thank you so much. Feel free to let me know down below about everything that you think about The Walking Dead Season 8 Episode 4, or anything around this Walking Dead Season 8. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Jack Skinner. If you want to subscribe, you can subscribe right here. Along with that, if you want to see my Walking Dead Season 8 Episode 3 review slash rant slash prediction video slash whatever, you can check it out right here. I have to fix the thumbnail. The thumbnail is really not that good. I'm sorry, people. I am. But, Monsters was an amazing episode. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Bye!